in a particular circle group, how do you go about it?
Thank you, Amanda. Well, I would say at the moment it's good to get in touch with the think tank, because we haven't, aside from the gardeners group and the health practitioners group, we haven't really got these circles up and running yet. The main objective now would be to find people who are willing to coordinate at least those 4 principal circles, if not some of the sub-circles. For instance, the gardeners group is a sub-circle, but that doesn't mean to say it's not as important. It's just that it's a sub-circle of something called food, because obviously that's what it is, amongst other things. So ideally we'd like to have a coordinator in each of the active groups. And I say active because sometimes a group, for instance, such as foraging, may not be active on a daily basis, but come the autumn, the mushrooms, come the winter, come the spring, then probably those groups would become much more active, you see. So anybody at the moment, not right now, you can think, unless you're really burning with desire, of course, then we're looking for coordinators for each group. You can contact us here or discuss what does that mean. I don't really want to take on too much responsibility. It doesn't mean a lot of extra work. It's really up to you, because you're also going to look to delegate certain tasks within your group. Each group would need to have at least 1 or 2, not too many, but 1 or 2 objectives that they can start to complete, perhaps within a 2-week, a 2-month period, so that people can really have an idea of what they can do. Because a lot of the time we're still left with this feeling of, well, what do we do? No? So the coordinator is the one that's going to oversee that, but they don't do the work. They basically get others to do it for them, but their job nonetheless is really important. It's to communicate that information to the think tank, and they in turn circulate that amongst the other groups. So communication in this method is really, really strong, really quite easy to grasp, and people can be held a little bit accountable for that as well. So jobs and tasks don't get lost in the, oh, I didn't know about that, or who, or when, you know, so it's much easier to keep track of what's been said and what's been suggested. Yeah.
Oh, I'm all shook up. So what you're saying, it's the coordinator that comes up with the tasks. No. Right, and just also while I've got this thing here, I ain't going to be in none of them, so that I ain't got none of those skills.
Try and address that. What do you, well, then you need to ask yourself, what do you like? Because obviously it's something that you're passionate about. Let's have an example.
That's right, okay, that's different, rather than just saying, oh, you know, you've got them skills. If you ain't got them skills, you can't be in the group.
No, not at all. No. There's so many groups here, and you're totally free to add groups that aren't there. This is such a flexible model. You can scrub them out, you can put them on. I mean, if you were to tell me, for instance, what it is that you really love to do, that you feel is contributing in any way to the community, can be, I don't know, babysitting. I don't know, it can be so many things. Knitting, I can see you knitting, singing. I don't know.
Knitting now, there you go.
You know, but knitting blankets for everyone, that's quite an important job. But no, nobody at all is excluded. In fact, it's the reverse. It's to find a place for everyone where everybody matters. Really, it's much more about that. And there was something else that you asked me as well.
Is it the coordinators
Right.
that then come up with like, right, this week we're all going to do that? Are they the ones?
No, it's a very good question. No, each group, so let's say there's 10 people in the food group and they get together, and you can do that online if you like, but it's also much better obviously to meet. But if you meet here or wherever's convenient, and you just discuss the kind of things that you feel the group needs. So do we need to have a consumer group where we can buy food in bulk for cheaper amount? I don't know, we're here in Coe, maybe we don't need that. I know a lot of groups do, so they make that a priority. Do we need to have better communication with the local markets so that we know where our food sources are, etc., etc., etc. So that is the food group's responsibility. All right, the coordinator manages the outcome, and they're never on their own because the coordinator is also part of the think tank. So they have very good circle here also to consult with. So they never feel on their own, they're always supported. And if not, there's something faulty in the communication, and that's a really good opportunity to look at how we communicate in groups, you know, and how we hold the meetings so that they're the most efficient meetings and that we don't waste time and energy, which is so valuable and happens over and over and over and over and over and over again everywhere because we don't have something like this simple structure to help us decide what direction to move in, how, what do we need, where we're going. Do it. That's the key thing. It's just do it. So we're doing a lot, we've done really well, but we can do a hell of a lot better. And we just think that this is one way to go. We can change it around, as I said, it's quite flexible, agile. We can add things into it. There's already several levels on the internet according to the school that you go to of sociocracy. But one thing I'm going to add, and maybe finish there, is that when I spoke a year ago to one of the principals of one of the schools of sociocracy, that's that thing, sociocracy, he said, you know, we are so aware of what's happening in the world and have been aware for some time, and so these groups, many of them, are looking to how they can help prepare for a collapse. That's financial, social, environmental, but principally the first two, as a way to form a kind of people's governance. I know again that's a dirty word, but something's needed as a stepping stone to help us from one world, if you like, to another, so that we avoid too much social unrest and chaos. It's almost inevitable, but knowing that these groups are operating in this way, preparing, benefiting each other in their community first, but being well aware that they're practicing for the day when probably they need to step in, step up with experience, with trust. I mean, that is number one, isn't it? Relationships of trust. And know that they can take on the job of managing to keep sane and healthy. Okay? Yes!
Taking, oh gosh. The word trust is coming up quite a bit, and I totally agree with that. And I really think you were saying about the database, right? If we're all to survive, it depends on trust. I don't think there'd be one person here that wouldn't trust you with their details. You know, if you want to make a database with my phone number and address, what I like for pudding or whatever, inside leg or whatever, whatever you need. I think I can trust you. So